Okay, so today we're going to use some gouache to paint a painting of cacti. Cacti Euphorbia, which is a very spiky, very unusual shaped cactus. It grows in all different sort of forms, but quite spectacular. I've sent you the picture. But if there's another cacti that you prefer to paint, then go ahead. I've got a sheet of acrylic paper here. You can use gouache on acrylic paper. You can use watercolour paper, you can use card, whatever you like. I've got a paper plate and I've got some gouache here which I keep in these little pill boxes, mainly because a lot of my tubes are like this. I'm saying a lot and I can't find one. Anyway, they've sort of got tops off and are dried up, and I've cut them open and I've taken the dry paint out and put them in here so that I can continue to use them, because even though gouache goes hard, if you expose it to the air, you can still wet it down and it will, you know, you're able then to use it again. So what I want to do is start to paint this. I've drawn it out with a pencil. I've altered the shape slightly, but you can make up your own shapes, up to you. I'm not going to do a background. I'm just going to do the pots and the cacti. I'm going to do it like a blue-green colour. And the thing with gouache is that you can paint the whiter, lighter areas on top if you want to. So I'm going to do it that way. You can paint around them, but it can be quite difficult to do that. So I'm just going to block out the main structure of the cacti and then paint the lighter areas and the spikes on afterwards. So I'm going to use this green that I have here. Now, if you don't have gouache and you want to use something else, then go ahead and use, you know, you can use watercolor, you can use acrylic, it's up to you. But you can see that this starts to move as soon as you put some water onto it. It starts to move, and we're going to use, sorry about the banging, somebody next door banging away. Okay, I'm going to lighten it up by adding a bit of blue paint. I might need to exercise this a bit more to get it going. But I'll talk you through it. A lot of people would not necessarily lighten paint up by using a blue or a different colour, but they would lighten up the paint by adding black and white. Now, that's all very well, but you will get really dull colours from those mixes. I mean, in certain circumstances they're okay, but for this painting we want the colours to remain vibrant, well, as vibrant as we can have them. I might pour a little bit of water into these and get them going a bit more. They almost become like watercolours once you've added the water. Okay, so I've got a blue-green colour. It's almost like a turquoise. This is a good way of making a turquoise, actually. And I'm going to paint one of the areas in this colour. Now you can see that the paint is quite thin, but I quite like the transparency of it. Gouache is supposed to be opaque. Which means, if you don't know what it means, is that you can't see through it. Now, the reason why this is transparent currently is because it's not that thick. So you can water down gouache and sort of make it transparent by doing that. So if you like the transparent nature of it, then just add more water to your mix. If you don't like it and you want it to be much flatter, this gouache was used a lot by graphic designers and illustrators because they wanted flat colour that would photograph or print very easily. And what they did was they added chalk pigment to the watercolour mix, and that sent it on the opaque side. Okay, so with each layer I am going to add a slightly different colour. So I've got that blue-green still, that turquoise colour. I'm just going to put a dot more green into it, like this. And I'm going to do the other side of this cacti with that colour. So you can see how much greener it is by that application. I'm using a Viridian green here. So again, like I said, if you want it to be opaque, then you just need to use thicker pigment. That means less water. If you want it to remain transparent, like I've got it here, then you can use less pigment, or even just do it in watercolour. But make sure that you use watercolour paper and not acrylic paper like I'm using here. Okay, because the more water you put into a pigment, if you try and sit it on top of acrylic or other types of paper, what happens is it just resists. So there we go. There's the two colours. Down. I'm just using an old acrylic brush for this job. There we go. Okay, if you've got any bits coming up, these bits are actually coming off my paper plate. They're not coming off the acrylic paper, but often that happens with watercolour paper, and it's just because you've irritated the paper. And they will just pick off like this. You can see I'm just picking them off. Just lift them off and they'll come up. Okay, so for the other cacti, I'm going to make it slightly bluer, this one. Okay, a little touch of green in there, but not much. There we go. And we're going to use that to paint the other cacti. So I'm just going to put this on time lapse so you can see it building up quickly, and I'm just going to fill in the rest of the painting. Okay, so that's the painting part finished. As you saw it build up, I used various shades of green and blue, and then I outlined in a pale pink, and then I used two other tones of pink. I added white into it, and then I used the pink directly from the tube just to outline, and I also put some shadow going down the centre of the cacti. And I painted the plant pots grey. I put a yellow ochre down on the soil surface. So if by this stage you're happy with what you've done, then great. If you want to solidify things a bit more, you can use pens to outline, add more detail, all that sort of thing. So test your pens out before you start. Just to make sure they're working. And I've got Posca pens here. These are acrylic marker pens. This is black and they are a size 0.7mm. You can get them online or at any art shop. They're excellent. They're basically acrylic in pen form, and you can go around and just put some extra detail in on those. These acrylic pens are like what you call pump action. So you press up and down like this, and that activates the paint to come out, if you're lucky, if they aren't running out like mine are. Oops. Okay. You can see I just splattered myself on my finger. The paint does come out a little bit quickly if you flick it, so just be careful. So like I said, you can just go round the edges of your pots, putting on some extra detail. You might just have some normal fibre tipped pens that you want to use. It's up to you. What else have we got? Oh, we've got blue here. So you just shake them. They're like the old metallic pens. You just shake them until they activate and press. You might find that they've run out, like this one has. Sometimes when you haven't used them for a while, they take a little while to get going again. And also you need to mix them inside. I have got some Posca pen tutorials on my YouTube channel, so if you need more information you can get them there. So like, I don't know, you could go around the inside of that with the blue, for example. I've got a metallic pink here. Let's try that. So really this is just to enhance. So this is a metallic pink, and it might just give an extra dimension to those spikes. You just put it in the odd place. Just gives an extra bit of shininess to some of those spikes. So yeah, just, you know, you don't have to do this, but it might help with detail or with form, just to put an extra bit of paint here and there. What else have we got? We've got white. You hear me working away trying to get these pens. I haven't used them for a while, so they do take a little while to get going, and especially to be mixed up. So the white could go on the edges like this. It could go around the edges like that on some of the points maybe. Again, you can use it to add detail. All right, but I think I'm going to leave it there. So there we are, cactus in gouache. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Ask any questions, send me your pictures. I can always give you some feedback or help if you've had any issues. All right, see you next time. Bye for now.